Hello everyone and welcome. I'll be your host today. My name is Grant Rettig and we're going to be doing a tutorial and talking about everything to do with the HKMLC smartboard. We're going to be breaking up this tutorial into a few different sections, so check out which one that you'd like to see and which one's going to be the most helpful for you. So now that you've got your new HKMLC smartboard, let's get everything set up and get it out of the box. While setting this up, I will recommend having two different people help, as it's very heavy and it is hard to kind of move it around. The only difference in setup that you might see is whether or not you're going to be using the included wall mount or if you purchase the additional cart to be able to move it from room to room. If you're setting it up with the wall mount, everything is already included. All you'll need to do is mount it to the wall and you should be good to go. So to start us off, let's see what's included in the box. The HKMLC smartboard comes with a remote, it comes with a warranty card, a certificate of conformity, instructions to mount it on your wall, a USB cable, an HDMI cable, two styluses, and two batteries for the remote. So first, let's go over all the different features on the outside of the smartboard, the things that you can plug into it, and what different devices can be used on here. The power port is where you're going to be plugging in the main plug of the unit. Now, I will tell you that this is kind of hidden and it is easy to not see. This port is on the back side and is easily accessible from the underside. The front of the smartboard offers two USB-A slots, a touch USB slot, an HDMI slot, and a USB-C slot. On the side of the smartboard, it offers another USB 3.0 slot, a USB 2.0 slot. It includes 3 more USB touch spots, 2 more HDMI spots. Next, let's talk about the buttons that you can access on the front side of the smartboard. There's a power button that turns the device on and off, a home button that will take you to the main screen of the smartboard, a return button or back button to go back the next step, a set button, that way you can set anything that you set up, as well as volume up and down buttons. Finally, on the back side of the device, there is an on and off switch that is directly under the plug. Now that we have the smartboard set up and turned on, let's start with some basic operations. When you first get the smartboard set up and turned on, you're going to be able to come to a screen like this. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to choose your language. So we're going to go with English. And the next thing is you're going to set up your date and time. So for me, I'm going to let it automatically do it. We're going to connect it to Wi-Fi so it can automatically detect what the time and date is. So we're going to hit next on this. And for here, we're going to use a wireless connection. You can also hook it up to your Ethernet, but for me, I'm going to be using a wireless connection. So this is going to be the normal home screen. So when you turn on the device, this is the home screen that you're going to see. So as you can see, I have the date and time already set up, and this is kind of where we're going to start. So the first thing that I would recommend is to go down here in the bottom corner where the settings button is, and we're going to set up our network connection. So we're going to be using a wireless connection here, and it should bring up some of your available networks. So I'm going to find the network of mine. I'm going to put in the password. As you can see, it brings up a nice keyboard, so we can type in our password right here. And connect. And now we are connected to the Wi-Fi. So let's go back to the home screen here now that we're connected to the Wi-Fi. If you swipe to the right, you can see all the apps that you have on your device. Now, this device has all of these apps that come standard already on the device, but the big one that I want to bring your attention to is the Google Play Store. And the Google Play Store is where you're going to be able to add all the additional third-party apps that can work great with the smartboard. In addition to the physical keys on the front, there's also a small touch button on the side of the device, and these have a couple different options as far as navigation. So the top one here is just a return or a back button. Next you have the home page, so if you press this button, you're going to go right back to this home page here. The second one down is OPS, and this is a open operating system that you can use and you can plug into. The next one down is the source settings. So this is going to be where all your different sources are. So right now it is connected to the Android, and this uses an Android operating system. You also have the option of the OPS that I was just previously talking about. And then you have all the different HDMIs as well as a USB-C type. Next, this button will give you all of your applications in one location. So no different as when we swipe to the right, you're going to be able to get all of your apps by pressing this middle button. The second button below all the applications is going to bring up all the different utilities that you can have. So you can have a countdown, a stopwatch, you can change the screen for your eyes, you can use a calculator, you can create a vote, you can do a screenshot, a screen record, or lock the touch. You can also use the volume up and down as well as the brightness. You can also even add common app shortcuts right here. So what this does is when you have your utilities, you can add any different type of app that you would like. And let's just say we want the Google Play to add that app. So now right here in our common apps, we can easily access the Google Play Store. The next button down is a screen drop down. And what this does is that way you can have multiple different things on the screen at once. So if we press it now, you can see that it brings it down, and this is in half screen mode. So we could have another application that is running at the top, and that way you can have multiple things going at once. And then finally, this is going to be where you can see all the apps that are running. This is no different than on your phone, and you can basically see everything that's going on in the background. For now, I'm going to clear everything, and then that way nothing is running in the background. So next, let's talk about all the different settings that you can use on your device. So this is the system settings here, and this is where you can basically do anything that you would like to change. So as we did before, we had connected to the wireless, but if you were using an Ethernet port, this is where you would set all that up here. It also comes with a hotspot that allows you to set it up. And next, in the Bluetooth, this is where you can connect a bunch of different devices such as headphones or anything else that uses Bluetooth connection. Next, we have device management. Here is where all the devices that you would have plugged into your smartboard would show up. Because I don't have anything plugged in right now, you are seeing that nothing is plugged in or on the screen except for a microphone, and that is because it has an internal microphone. The next is the wallpaper. So this is just like your computer or your phone, and you can change the different backgrounds of your smartboard. You can also add different wallpapers, and any pictures that you upload to the device, you can use as your background. Next, we have the date and time. Now I have it set to be automatically set date and time, so I don't have to worry about this here. The next is the language or input. So if you need to change the language or the input, you can go to different methods and find the different languages here. There's also different input methods. So because it is an Android device and it runs on an Android operating system, there is a Google keyboard that it's already set up with, but it also has a Google Pinion input as well. There are other third-party keyboards that if you prefer, you can also add to this and use. The next option is the power settings. Now, the power settings can be changed if you want it to power on a certain way, or if you plug a certain device in, it would automatically make the device wake up. The security settings, these are where you can have different lock screens, or you can change it to where you need a password to log on to the smartboard. Next is the other option, and this has a few different things like having a float bar and a smart screen protection. And then finally, in the last, this is going to be the About section. And this is no different than your phone or your computer. And essentially, it's going to tell you the name of it. It's going to give the device model. It's going to give your serial number. It's also going to tell you how much storage that you have available. And then at the very bottom, if you look here, if you ever need to, or if you run into an issue where you want to reset the device, down here at the bottom, you're going to do restore factory settings. And I'm not going to do that now because we were just kind of getting this set up. But this is where it would be if you would want to restart your system or you want to restore it to the factory settings. The home screen gives us 3 different options. We have an S-Write program, the browser, and we also have the file manager. So from the home screen, we're going to start with the file manager. Now, this is no different than your computer or your phone, and this is where you're going to be able to find all the files that are on your device. This is the local file, so it's going to look just like a computer to where you can find your downloads, anything in documents, music, pictures, etc. And so the file manager, whenever you need to find something, maybe it's the recording. So as you can tell, I'm recording my screen down here and that way I can use it. You'll be able to find that in your files. So let's jump back out to the front here. So from the main screen, we're going to click on browser. Now this is where you can go online. You can go to any of the normal websites that you would typically use. One of the best features of this smartboard is that no matter what you have on the screen, you can click on this small little section that we had talked about before on the side, and you can actually write on the screen. So if we click that, it brings us a few options here. So we can change the color, we can show the size of the pen, or we can even use our stylus. And this allows us to write right on the screen. So what this does, if we're giving a presentation, and let me clear all this here, and we're talking about the HKMLC smartboard, one of the different options. So we're going to go down here. It's going to allow us to write on the screen, and we can actually circle or highlight anything that we would like to show. The next feature from the home page that we're going to discuss is going to be the S-Write feature. And this is your typical whiteboard. This allows you to use your stylus or your finger to write on the board, just like a normal whiteboard. However, with the HKMLC smartboard, there's thousands of different options that you can use when you're writing on the board. So there are several customizable options at the bottom of the screen here when you're in the S-Write program. So for the first one, this is brush settings. And there's so many different brush settings that you can use, and I'm not going to dive into each one of them. Essentially what you can do is each different brush is going to represent a different way to write. So just like you would have a marker or a pencil or a pen and different thicknesses, you can also do that here. Now, each line that you have, you can change the thickness of it. So this is the thickness, or you can go to a very small, thin, pencil-like look here. You can also change the color. So if you'd like to write in blue, oh, I want to make this just a little bit bigger, but I want to write in blue. If there's a color that you would like to use that you don't see on the main screen, you can choose the color wheel down here, and this gives you the full range of colors here. That way you can choose any different type of color that you would like to write in. The next option at the bottom is the eraser tool. And just like it sounds, this is just an eraser. That way you can erase anything that you wrote. Now, one of the last options that I'm going to talk to you about with the brush size is being able to use the stylus. So from a normal writing perspective, if you have just the normal brush size here, I can actually write with my fingers. You can actually see that I can use my fingers here, and then I can also write with the eraser on the back side of the stylus. But say that you want to use this just like you would a pencil. I'm going to go down here and I'm going to choose the erasable and writable function. Now what this does, it means that if I have the stylus and I write like I normally would, I can write using the tip of the stylus. But if I wanted to erase something, I could turn it over, and now I have the eraser right on my stylus. And now there is one downside to this, and that is because once that is turned off, you can no longer write with your finger. Your finger is just an eraser. So something to keep in mind depending on how you want to use the writing surface, it does give you the option to make it specific to the stylus or just to be able to use your finger. The next option is the lasso move. So basically, I can highlight different items here, and that way I can move them around. So if I don't want to redraw something and I really like the way that I had it, I can use this lasso tool here, circle the item that I'm looking for. I can make it bigger, I can make it smaller, or I can just move the entire thing. The next option is a ruler. And what this does is it gives you a few different options to have a ruler straight on your whiteboard. That way, if you're trying to make something very consistent and very exact, you know exactly how big it is on the screen. The next option at the bottom here is a geometric figure. So let's imagine that you were writing on the board and you wanted to have a triangle. So we're going to put a triangle on the board. Now we can add different shapes. So this way we can add different shapes that can help us. You can make straight lines, you can make dashed lines. That way when you're making anything on your smartboard, you can do it exactly the way that you want to. The next option at the bottom of the screen is going to be the form option. And what this is going to create an Excel-like looking form, and this is going to allow you to see how many squares you'd like it. I'm going to make it the full length, and then we're going to insert it directly onto our smartboard here. And then this way we can use this if we would like to make any formulas or different forms, and it just makes everything so it's nice and neat. The next option at the bottom is called the hold all option. And this gives us a few different options as far as things that we can add to the whiteboard, that way that we can describe stuff. So you can add images, videos, you can add a sticky note, and let's just say, hi, we're going to add this sticky note up in the corner, and you can just leave it up there and you can remove it at any time. It also has things like a flow chart. So let's say you wanted to explain how one thing led to another. So we're going to put this here. We're going to add another one, and that way we can show how things flow from a chart perspective. So let's get those off there. Finally, the last option in this hold all that I really like is called the split screen. Now what the split screen does, it starts with 2, obviously as you can see here, and that way you can have multiple people writing at the same time. So if you have a classroom or if you have some kind of contest, you can have different individuals come up on different sides of the board. Now it still allows each one to change the color, so if they want to write in different colors, and then that way it keeps them separated on these sides of the board. Now if you look over here, it gives you multiple options. So right now we're in 2 different slots, but you can also change it to 3, 4, and 6. So that means that you can have 6 different people writing on the board at once, and you can separate each one of their ideas and you can allow them to work together. Finally, at the very end, you can also see there's a forward and backward button. And that way, if you write something on the board and you don't like it, you can hit back, or you really liked it and you wanted to bring it back, you can bring it right back on the screen. At the very bottom, you can see on both sides here, there are 2 different options to change things. So this allows you to have multiple different boards. So if you want to add, you can have different boards that you can change to. So let's start and go back to our first board here, and this is what we have. Let's say we wanted to discuss another option, and we're gonna write on the number 2 smart board. then we can keep changing, we can add it. And that way we can go back and we can get to all the different smart boards or all the different writing surfaces. That way we can have multiple different things that we're talking about at once. Now, one of the last options that you have in the S-Write tool is you can actually share your work. So if you would like to send this out, you can actually send it as a QR code. So if you have people that are directly in the room, say you're giving a speech, you can have them connect to the QR code and they can download this directly. You can also send it by email, and that way you can attach this as a PDF and you can send it directly to someone. One of the best features about the smartboard, no matter what you're doing on the screen, is being able to write directly on the screen. So if we choose this option from the left-hand side here, we can now write on the screen wherever we want. And it brings us up the same options that we had on the S-Write. So it also has the erasing pen. So if you'd like to write and then be able to erase, you can write directly on the screen. So for instance, I'm going to show you how you can use this. So this is my website here that I have pulled up. So I'm gonna go over here to the options on the left-hand side, and I'm gonna choose the comment option. So what this does, anything that I have on the screen, whether I'm in the browser, whether I'm in my files, or if I'm in a website, and I can actually now directly write on the screen anything that I want. It still gives me the option if I'd like to use a normal pen, that way I can write with my finger, or it gives me the option for the erasing pen like we discussed when we were in the S-Write, and this way I can write here, and I can also erase with my pen. But this gives me the ability to be able to talk or give a presentation about something, and this way I can give circles or point out anything that I want directly on the screen. And I think that's a great option for a lot of different people to be able to use this in that way. I hope this video has given you valuable insight on how to get your new HKMLC smartboard unboxed, set up, and begin using the valuable tools to help you in your business or personal life. Many of the features and tools that this smartboard provides can save you a lot of valuable time and energy compared to older technology. The ability to download thousands of apps on the Google Play Store unlocks the ability to have all your typical applications in one device in one area that you can project to a small room. If you need additional help or are looking for additional resources, please visit hkmlc.com. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and good luck with your new smartboard.